My name is Amara Ellis, and this is the night a man with more money than patience said. He didn't date women like me, said it smooth, like a preference and not a wound. Said it in a ballroom where the chandeliers made everyone look kinder than they were. I could have swallowed it, smiled, let the moment slide under the rug, with all the other polite disasters we pretend never happened. Instead, I walked right up to him, because when somebody draws a line across your path, you either step back forever, or you measure it and build a bridge. Alder and Finch Hotel, top floor. The kind of room where half the deals are held together by ego and the other half by handshakes nobody intends to keep. I was late on purpose, and a trick I learned in consulting: make the air remember what it feels like without you, then enter like oxygen. He was easy to spot. Grant Mercer tucks sharp cufflinks loud, that posture rich men learn when the world keeps moving the furniture out of their way. He said it again, for his circle. I don't date black women, not a shout, a shrug, like weather. Faces tightened, nobody pushed back. Seattle polite and complicit in the same breath. I stepped in, introduced myself to his people, not him, Amara the independent, brought in to stop Iron Harbor from bleeding out. He looked me over the way you check a receipt you plan to ignore and said, "You're not my type." "Good," I said, "because I'm not your hobby. A couple folks lost the war with their champagne." He lifted his glass like a gavel, said, "We should keep it strictly professional." "Perfect," I said. "I do my best work when I'm nobody's plan B." On the ride home, the city was a river of light, and I let the sentence sit beside me like a rude passenger, made it earn the seat by reminding me who I am. I don't bend for crumbs. I don't audition for respect. I fix the math. I make rooms bigger than the people who built them. You know what I mean? Monday. Mercer West was all glass and Weather Puget Sound pasted across the windows, like a painting you can't afford. The badge they gave me came with a deadline: save Iron Harbor by quarter end, or write a beautiful obituary. First meeting wasn't a meeting, it was a test. Grant leaned back at the head like a coach who already cut me and wanted to see if I'd beg to practice. Around him, Marla from finance, spine like a ruler. Diego from strategy, eyes bright, mouth careful. Two partners from a firm that charges by the breath. I got to slide 4 before Grant went for the cheap shot. "Miss Ellis, how many doors did you bat those lashes at to land this gig?" I have a rule for moments like that. Don't perform outrage, don't shrink, name the weather drive anyway. The door I walked through had a lock called results. I said, "That's the only key I carry." It landed with that hollow boom a church has when nobody's singing. Marla's eyebrows said thank you without moving. Diego's pen finally wrote something honest. Grant didn't flinch, not with his face, but his eyes sharpened, and the table tilted 2 degrees in my direction. "Proceed," he said, like the word could erase the reason he had to say it. We got into it: freight contracts, bleeding margin, idle inventory stacked like broken promises, a pricing ladder that punished the exact folks who buy paint after a shift and keep small towns from falling apart. I live for that phase, the pure problem, the way it doesn't care about your shoes, only your stamina. Every time I cleared one of his traps, he set another. And every time I stepped over it with better numbers, he watched me the way a climber watches a ledge, measuring, suspicious, curious. Days ran long, the building emptied. The HVAC hummed like a low drum, and during one storm, the lights hiccuped, the glass turned mirror, the laptop became a small moon between us. We both reached for the same report, our hands touched. Just heat and human, and the knowledge of it, and we went very still. "Focus," I said. "Not unkind, this deal can't survive our distractions." "You think I'm distracted?" he asked, too quiet. "I think you told me who you were at Alder and Finch," I said, "and the numbers deserve better than that." He held my eyes too long for a boss who thought he owned the air, then nodded like a man conceding a point on a court he paid for. Proceed, Ms. Ellis. That's when the shift started, not fireworks, just small gears catching fewer questions, shaped like traps, more shaped like curiosity, my dashboard forwarded to the board, with no edits, me telling him no, in rooms where, yes, used to be the only language and nobody getting fired for it, yeah, that happened. The second test came unscripted. Weekly ops review, one of the partners tried a joke he thought was harmless. Said a woman like me must have a lot of brothers to talk this tough. The air thinned like altitude. I was about to turn the temperature to Arctic when Grant got there first. That's not how we speak here, he said. Not raised, not theatrical, just final, apologize. Now. The man swallowed his cleverness and handed over a clean, sorry. Grant didn't look at me for credit. Good. Credit wasn't the point, culture was. We built the 3 prongs, renegotiate freight with carrot and stick, instead of just hope launch a community credit pilot that treated loyalty like dignity and not debt. Kill a vanity line some magazine made famous back in 2019 that was eating cash while pretending to be premium. Board day came with rain tapping the windows, and a stomach that wanted to mistake adrenaline for danger. I opened with the leaks, walked them through the repairs, showed the 2 scenarios where the patient dies anyway, because honesty works better than optimism when the money gets real. Questions came like sleet. We stacked them, sent them back with answers you could sign your name to. Grant spoke twice, once to underline the upside if we stopped playing cute, and actually executed once to say in front of the same people who hired me that bringing me in was one of the few things they got right this year. You ever hold your breath without knowing until you hear a sentence and realize you've been carrying a piano inside your ribs? Yeah, that. In the hallway that smells like lemon cleaner and ambition. He caught up to me, Amara, he said, no dare. In it just my name, I was wrong. Alder and Finch, the sentence. He didn't outsource the guilt to preference or context, didn't ask me to explain why it hurt. He just said it plain, I was wrong. Thank you, I said policy, then live it after. Within a week, HR had a code of conduct with teeth, not a poster, and he held the line when nobody clapped, that matters more than any press release. The turnaround never looks like a hero shot. It looks like Tuesday, a new freight contract that treats truckers like partners, an inventory manager who blooms once you get out of her way, a Saturday morning where a line of customers in rain jackets give a company one more chance, and a cashier learns names because names are cheaper than coupons and worth more. The numbers moved slow, then steadier, like a stubborn wheel finally catching. We hit our first milestone early. I threw the chart up on the glass like a flag and let the team yell. Grant walked in and smiled like a man who just heard his house breathe again. That night he texted about vendor scorecards, not a trap, actual work, so I took the elevator to the top, and the city looked like a galaxy. People forgot to turn off. He set papers down and said the quiet thing out loud, that premium line I killed, it was my idea. I kept it because I liked telling people we made it. The temptation to be impressive is undefeated, I said. He laughed, small and honest. You don't make it easy for me, you know that. It's not my job to make it easy, I said. It's my job to make it true. He nodded, then went back to the thing he kept circling. Alder and Finch, honesty isn't integrity. I hid a prejudice behind the word preference and asked the room to forgive me for telling the truth about it. I believed efficiency exempted me from decency. I don't want to be that man. I didn't hand him absolution. Growth is not a TED Talk. It's a receipt, you pay for it. With new behavior, tonight is a sentence, tomorrow is the receipt. He got it. A month later, Iron Harbor posted its first real month of breathing without a ventilator. I handed the team a roadmap they didn't need me to hold, and Grant asked if I wanted coffee at a place that doesn't take corporate cards. He asked as a man, not a CEO, circling an acquisition. I said yes with a boundary and a smile. We sat behind a taco shop under a string of lights that kept losing the argument. With the wind, talked about families. We don't call enough. The version of success that lets you sleep. How you fix a thing without pretending it was never broken. He reached for my hand and paused. Left the question on the table where I could see it. I took it on one condition: we're equals in this story, and you never outsource your courage to the room's comfort again. No kiss in the rain, no orchestral swell, just two people choosing respect over fireworks, accountability over charm, the slow build over the pretty shortcut. You know what I mean? So here's your twist if you were waiting for one in the middle and a bow at the end. The twist was never romance, it was repair. A man deciding that apology isn't a finish line but mile one. A company choosing policy, and then the habit required to honor it, me, refusing to pay a dignity tax to join a room I was hired to save. The ending you get is satisfaction with a side of trouble. Does a man who says what he said deserve a second chance when the first sentence carved a line through a room, and through me, is a public apology and a private habit enough to rewrite a story? Is the line between mercy and memory, between forgiveness and forgetting, between preference and prejudice, when the word preference has been working overtime as a disguise? That's the debate I want to hear under this video. Tell me where you draw it. Tell me if you've ever watched a room go quiet, and whether anyone chose courage. Tell me what justice looks like in your real life, not on a poster, and tell me where you're watching from. I read everything. I want the heat. I want the receipts. And if this story took something heavy off your chest, share it. Someone else might be trying to breathe too.